I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be meeting and seducing women while you're on vacation or a short weekend trip. Now, I've got a quote here this is actually a quote that I wrote a while back. And I want to talk about success and becoming the person you're supposed to be, because the whole idea of focusing on self-help, self-improvement, personal growth is to help you grow into the person that you're supposed to be. And obviously, if you're applying to things that I teach, one of the areas that you're probably looking to improve in your life is obviously your success with women. So the idea is to get to a place where you're able to move about the world, whether you're on vacation or you're home in your city, and if you meet somebody and you have a connection, you can create a fun-filled romantic opportunity for sex to happen by simply hanging out, having fun, and hooking up, and taking that same mindset that I talk about when you meet a girl that's in your city. Simply focus on hanging out, having fun, and hooking up, not focusing on the future, not talking about relationships or relationship labels or what the meaning of the relationship is to one another. The key is just to hang out and have fun. Because when you look at why the reason is that women read all these romance novels is they want to be in a love story. They love the mystery of the guy in these stories. They don't know whether he's going to get together with the girl, and if he goes off, they don't know if he's going to come back. There's so much mystery and tension, and they meet, and there's just this unbelievable chemistry and rapport that they have with one another. And women desperately want that in their own lives. They want to be in their own personal love story. And love stories sometimes start when you're on vacation. It's happened to me a number of times in my life. As a matter of fact, one of the girls that I wrote about in my book that I had a really fantastic relationship with, a long-term relationship with, was somebody that I met when I was at a seminar. Now, I've met lots of girls over the past 25 years or so of my adult life. Met them at weddings, hooked up at weddings. I've been at trade shows. I've been at seminars, and sometimes the hookups are just a weekend or a night, and sometimes they turn into long-term relationships. And so the idea is to put yourself into a position to where you can adjust your strategy so you can make something happen. Because like I talk about in my book, one of the tools that you can use is meeting a girl, calling her a couple days later. Because especially like when you first start using and applying the stuff that I teach in my book, it's for most guys, the average guy, it's hard for them to tell when a girl's really interested. So I teach a lot of low-risk strategies to the point where you don't really have to risk a whole lot before you put yourself out there, or you ask for a phone number, or you set a date. It's like by the time you get to that point, you've gone through a number of questions and pre-screened the girl, so you're pretty sure that she's into you and she wants to go out. Well, if you apply this stuff long enough, you're going to get pretty good at it. And like I said, I put those things in there because I want you to think of them like all the strategies, the techniques, the lines, the different things that I use that are in my book or my articles. They're tools in your pickup, dating, and relationship toolbox. They're there to help you make sure you don't ever get yourself into a situation where you're out on a date with a girl that's not really that into you, so she's wasting your time and your money. The idea is to help you make sure that when you do go out on dates and you do spend your valuable time and your money on a chick, that you're going out with a girl that you really like and who really likes you and you got a shot with. Now, as your skills grow, you're going to get to the point like I'm at where pretty much my rate of success is like 97, 98% because with women. Because the reason being is that the women you're going to approach as you get really good at this stuff is you're going to demand, you're going to want women to want you as much as you want them. You want to be wanted in the same way that you want another person. And you'll get to the point where you literally can look in another human being's eyes and you can tell exactly what they're feeling, exactly what they're thinking. And it's so easy when you look in a woman's eyes, you can tell that she's into you. And all you got to do is make a quick date right then and there on the spot. But the average person doesn't, the guy that's starting out applying the stuff that I teach, doesn't have those skills yet. There's so many things going on in his mind, and there's so many things he hasn't experienced yet, that to do the things like I talk about, the example with the gal that I met in the UK in my book, to meet a girl, make a date within like 30 seconds of talking to her without any fear or any hesitation or any doubt. You already know she's going to say yes to you before you've even asked, you even know her name or anything about this particular girl. That's a tough thing to do, or to ask the average guy that's just starting out to do this stuff. But the idea is to evolve your skills to the point where you can pretty much come and go as you please in life. Whether it's getting a job that you want, or getting somebody to invest in your company, or convincing, or I should say not so much convincing, but attracting a girl into your life that's the kind of person that you really want to either have a friend or a one-night stand or a great relationship with, or to make friends with the kind of people that you'd like to become friends with. The idea is you want to get to the point where you have so much freedom that you can move about the world when you want. You wake up when you want, you go to sleep when you want, you go on vacation when you want, you work when you want. I mean, it gives you an incredible feeling of freedom to be able to do that, to come and go as you please. So you, in essence, become an adventurer, because at the end of the day, the only thing you can really do with your life is find a way to enjoy it. The whole purpose of life is to enjoy it, is to have fun, and to find ways to do that. And what better way to enjoy your life than to spend it with the kind of people that you want, with the kind of members of the opposite sex that you want, building the kind of companies that you want, or working at the kind of companies that you want, taking vacations where you want. I mean, everybody wants to stay at a nice 5-star restaurant and be pampered and have really great food. But it takes time and a lot of hard work to get yourself to a place where you're adding enough value to the world that you're getting compensated back enough to where you can pretty much move about life and society how you want. Pretty much like I talk about, that I've been able to enjoy for many years now in my life. And it's incredibly freeing to be able to do those things. So I got a quote that I want to share with you. And it's, "The path to success is littered with the limiting beliefs and false identities you have shed along the way to achieving your goals. Even though you may think it is otherwise, the true purpose in achieving your goals and dreams is not about achieving them. It's about who you become during the journey." So I got a quick email here from a viewer. He says, "Hey Corey, I've been listening to your stuff for about 6 years now, and it just gets better and better, man." Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for sticking along for about 6 years in this journey. He says, "I know you're definitely a busy man, but I need some quick advice on this girl I met. I met this gorgeous girl at, I'm not going to mention the airport, this past morning. And we chatted for a bit, and we were actually on the same flight to go skiing. And so she was flying with some friends, so we didn't sit together on the plane, but I did get her number." Good fucking job, dude. He says, "After we landed and parted ways, I sent her a text because she joked that I couldn't check if it was a good number on the plane." Well, if a chick brings up something like that, well, you know, she says, "Well, you won't be able to check in a plane to see if I gave you the right number or not." He's like, "Well, I would say, I don't worry about that. Girls never give me fake numbers." It's, you say something like that with confidence, it's because the way you act as if these kind of things always happen to you. In other words, when you meet a girl that you really like, you can tell she's into you. And so when you ask a girl for her phone number, you already know she's going to give it to you. So there's no doubt. There's no hesitation. There's no fear. And that comes through time and through repetition and applying the things that I teach. He says, "I know it's better to hold out a couple of days, but I was thinking we might meet up since our ski resorts are only 15 minutes apart." Absolutely. Like what happened with my girlfriend that I wrote about in my book who was from the UK, is we were both at a seminar in California. It was like a 6 or 7 day long seminar. And the first night of the seminar, I noticed this girl who eventually became my girlfriend. I wrote about her in this book. My book, obviously. She was like 2 rows up ahead of me. And, you know, I think it was 3,000 or 4,000 people at this event. And, like, during the stretch breaks, we would get up, stand, and stretch out. Because you're sitting down for a long time. I think the seminars were, it was like 10 or 12-hour days. It was actually a Tony Robbins event. And so I know, like, she turned around and I noticed her, and because I had seen her from behind, and I mean, it looked like her clothes were like painted onto her body. They were so tight. I mean, I later found out she won the Miss Figure competition. I mean, she's just an incredible body, and that's what caught my attention. And when she turned around, she looked me right in the eye and smiled, no fucking fear at all, just like I'm looking in the camera right now. And she just kept staring at me, and I mean, there was this intense stare for a matter of seconds, and then she turned around, and I figured, hey, when the seminar ends, and I'm going to obviously, I think she was 2-3 rows ahead of me, and I'm going to get her number, I'm going to make a date on the spot. I didn't know at the time she was from another country, because I didn't hear her speak or anything. So anyways, like a couple hours before the seminar, and she and whoever she was with, they get up and they left. So I'm thinking, no big deal. We're here for a week, so I'm sure at some point I'll run into her. And so, sure enough, the next night I was having dinner with a girl I was friends with. And that particular girl I was just friends with. She was a good friend of mine. She still is to this day. But anyways, we were walking out, the restaurant, and there was this girl from the day before, and I just looked right at her, and I looked right in her eyes. I was like, "Hey, what's up?" That was my opener to her, basically. And she's like, "Hey, you were sitting behind me yesterday, and you had such and such," and she's telling me what I was wearing and everything. So, I mean, she's doing that. I was like, I know this girl's into me, because I could tell the way she looked at me the day before. And I said, "Hey, why don't we, I'd like to have dinner with you. How about tomorrow night? We meet here after, the day's event is over. If you get here first, you get a table. If I get here first, I'll get a table." She's like, "That's great." And I was like, "Cool." And I didn't get her number at that point, because we're at a resort, as soon as she opened her mouth, I could tell she's obviously from the UK, so she's not going to be somebody that's here locally. So anyways, we made a date for the next day, and I didn't think anything of it. Got her, obviously I asked her name, and so sure enough, the next night she shows up, and there's this just magical connection. And I wrote about it in my book. You can read about it then, but I made a date on the spot. And so at the end of the night, we were making out, and then she was actually not staying at the same hotel, and so she ended up going back to her hotel that night, which was, 4 or 5 in the morning, because we both had to get up early as fuck the next day. So we each had like 2 hours of sleep maximum, because I think the next day Tony's thing started like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, early as fuck as usual. So it wasn't until we didn't really hook up, I think, until a couple of days later. And then it was like, 2-3 weeks after, because I was traveling, she flew over to see me. But the idea is that what I basically did was I met this girl. I could tell she was into me. I just looked in her eyes. I knew. I made a date in a spot to meet the very next night. And then we hung out, and we just talked all night long. And she did like 80% of the talking. She just talked my ear off. And so I was totally mysterious by the end of the night. And I went for the move. I remember her telling me that when I kissed her, she's like, I wasn't ready for it. I was so shocked. I was like, well, what I remember is that you had no problem putting your fucking tongue right down my throat, so I didn't sense or feel any kind of hesitation other than, you may have been thinking that, but obviously your actions were not showing that. And so that's all you do. And it's like, so you're at the seminar, and it's just, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? Oh, we're going to be going this. I'm hanging out with my friends, whatever. It's like, great. Well, why don't we meet up tomorrow night? Or, it just makes it really simple. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. That's all you're there to do. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. No talking about the future, because you may never see this person again. They may live in a different country, a different state, a different city, and it's you never know. Hang out, have fun, and hook up, and that's what you need to focus on. So, back to his question, actually I think it's a great idea for you to meet up with this particular girl that you're at the ski resort with. And so he says, it was only a few texts, and she agreed to dinner, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to meet her at the ski resort or wait till we both got back home, because apparently this girl lives at home. And I said, absolutely, the love story can start right now. You're on vacation. You're both focused on having a good time. You're feeling good because you're on vacation. She's feeling good because she's on vacation. And obviously the two of you like each other. So the simple thing is, you schedule plans for dinner. A simple thing is like when you're getting off the plane, you could have easily said, hey, why don't we meet up for a drink this week? What night do you want? When are you free? And she's like, hey, how about tomorrow? I was like, great. Because you talk about where you're at and you find out you're only a couple of minutes down the road from each other. You can make definite plans in the spot that way. He says, I was a little worried that texting her so soon would make her lose interest, but then she texted me the next day about her day on the slopes. So my question is, should I arrange something here or wait till next week? Well, when she texts you the next day, hey, great to hear from you. Why don't we get together and meet up for a drink? When are you free? And make a date, and then boom, hang out, have fun, and hook up. Really simple. He says, I'm also here with family, too, so I probably wanted to go to dinner or maybe a drink or something. But that's all you have to do. And you could be on a cruise ship. Same thing. You meet up with a girl, and it's like, if you're hanging out having a drink, then the date starts right then and there in the spot. And you get her talking, open her up, just like I talk about in my book. She's doing 70-80% of the talking. At some point, if she's touching your arm, and she's got a couple cocktails in you, or her knees touching yours, you can just look her right in the eye and just say, I think you just need to get it over with and kiss me right now. And when she's looking at you the way I talk about in my book, she's going to lean in, kiss you, and smile, and you're going to be making out. And then just one thing leads to another, and then you're back in the cabin having sex. That's the simple process to go through. Don't complicate it any more than that. So if you want my help, the quickest way to get it is go to my website right now, book a paid phone coaching session, click the products tab, and I'll talk to you soon.